Welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where today I've got a real treat for you with something that comes only once just about every 5 years. We've got the brand new Shimano DURA-ACE 9200 in front of us. And 9200 has a couple really cool things for this new generation that have never been done by Shimano, as well as we've got the launch edition packaging. And boy, is it gorgeous. So let's go ahead and pop it out of the box. And I'll start talking about what's going on with this drivetrain. And if you're into some really nice things and want to know the weights, as well as a couple of specs, I promise this is the video for you. So just in front of us is the brand new drivetrain. And this isn't just any upgrade. One of the major upgrades for this year is it's going to be 12-speed, as well as it's also wireless. And those are two really big updates for Shimano, never been done before on their road bike drivetrains. And this drivetrain takes both of those to heart, as well as it uses a little bit of mountain bike technology to make everything better. So we're going to go into a couple of the features of each of the items that's in front of us. We'll check out the crankset that we've got here as well. And ultimately, the last thing we'll do is find out exactly what it weighs. So I'll first start off by just showing off this absolutely amazing looking crankset. So Shimano, for this year, just about every 5 years they come out with a new DURA-ACE drivetrain. They've gone to a 12-speed drivetrain, as well as they've really changed up some of the gear ratios that are going on. And a couple of reasons that you might do that. Well, so by going to 12-speed, by having this 12-speed drivetrain, they can optimize the spread inside of the cassette. So you can get that 15, 16, 17. They can add some additional climbing range by having a wider range cassette. And then the other neat thing they can do is that allows them to update the chainring profiles on DURA-ACE as well. So what we have in front of us is the mid-compact 12-speed setup. So this means it's a 52-36, but they're going to go all the way up to a 54 tooth, as well as back down to that 50-34 if you wanted that as well. But the reason they're going to even larger cogs is because both some of your fastest riders are getting faster, but larger rings actually reduce some of the drivetrain loss. And the other place they really changed up for this year is going to be in their derailleurs. So brand new, of course, front and rear derailleurs, no surprise here, because this is going to be operating the new 12-speed. But your derailleur is going to have a larger chain wrap capacity, allowing you to have those different chainring sizes as well as cassette sizes. But the thing that you might notice compared to its other wireless rivals is you're not going to see a mount for a battery on here. And that's because the front and rear derailleurs are tied together via a wire to a battery. So it's wireless to the shifter, but not to the derailleurs. And they did this for a couple of reasons. The first would be battery life. So this is still going to maintain about 1,000 kilometers worth of riding without having to charge. It also means that they can run a more powerful battery to get those signature, hard, strong shifts that you can get out of DURA-ACE. And they connect up to a battery that we're not going to pull out of the box here, but comes with the drivetrain. That can be snuck pretty discreetly near where the bottom bracket is, shoved into one of the tubes there, your seat tube, whatever you might need to do. But then it allows the shifters to come out totally wireless. So your shifter itself is going to be wireless. One of the things I really love is these much more tactile kind of shifting blades. You can really tell the tactile difference between these shifters, which is a major upgrade than the previous version. And then the other thing that you'll notice is the reach of the hood has actually gotten about 6 millimeters longer. So that gives a little bit better spot to be holding onto the bike. The way we kind of hold onto bikes and ride them down the road is a little bit different. But it's still going to allow the way the blade sweeps back on the shifter to get a good position for your hand. Now, reach is adjustable inside of the shifter, so you can get that adjusted up. And of course, these are wirelessly going to those derailleurs. Now, moving on from that, we should talk a bit about braking. And this is a place that I think is pretty cool here too. So first off, the disc brakes, the discs themselves, are going to be the same as what you'd get on the XTR variant. So one of the places where they're bringing in mountain bike technology, and then these calipers are just so well machined. I mean, just the look of it's pretty incredible. Of course, flat mount, twin piston ceramic calipers, ceramic pistons, I should say, in the aluminum caliper with finned brakes. Now, very interestingly, the brakes themselves, this drivetrain is still available in a rim brake format as well. So a mechanically operated rim brake format you can get as well. Even though electronic shifting only, you now have mechanical brakes still. So I think that's a nod to just what Shimano knows, especially on some of the most Gucci, lightweight builds. People are still running mechanical. Now the front derailleur itself has slimmed up. The motor unit, the stepper unit that's on top of here is just incredibly small compared to the previous generation. So I think that's an awesome upgrade. Just cedes to both some of the weight savings that are out there, as well as just the overall size of this unit has gotten just smaller and much more sleek. Now, finally, before we jump into the weights, let's talk a bit about the cassette. So I told you earlier that you can get a 14, 15, 16, and 17 out of one of these cassettes. And that's exactly what we've got in front of us here. So this is the 11 to 30 tooth cassette, which is going to be their most compact range. And you might think 30 tooth on a racing cassette. Well, remember that crankset we were talking about earlier, you can get this in a 5440, which is just an absolutely massive amount of gear to push. So having that 30 tooth works out nicely, and going from that 14, 15, 16, 17, those are going to be your most common gears to be using during racing. And with the larger chainring up front and bigger cogs out back, you actually have less mechanical drag. Now, the cassette is also available in a much more climber-friendly 11 to 34, so that's neat to see there. And that 11 to 34 is still going to run a 13, 14, 15, and then it jumps the 16 tooth up to the 17, 19, and so on as you progress. The cassette does have a little bit of a difference from before, using an alloy spider rather than a carbon spider, but it is still titanium cogs up top and steel down at the bottom. So now that we've checked out some of these features, I really want to find out what it weighs, and I hope you do too, so let's do that. So the moment we've all been waiting for, it's time to find out exactly what this weighs. Now, what we've got here is the 172.5 millimeter length crank arms with the 5236, and we'll see that this comes in at a really light 685 grams. The DURA-ACE rear derailleur weighs in at 217 grams. Front derailleur comes in at a very featherly 96 grams. Our brake caliper, now this is mounted up with a hose, but for the course of this is only 145 grams. So the last thing to match up on this drivetrain is going to be what's a pair of shifters come in at. And I bet these are going to be smoking light just in the hand. They sure seem to be at only 372 grams. So thanks for watching this video on the Shimano DURA-ACE drivetrain. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this. Of course, this wasn't super in-depth. However, we got some weights, got some real neat information, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe and definitely browse the channel for more.